Hola, bon dia. Carl Munson here from Expats Portugal with the Good Morning Portugal show. How are you this week? Bon semana to you. And already a few greetings coming in. We've got a very special show for you lined up because my old mate Frank's here. You will know him from the Wine Club and the Expat Man Cave. And we're starting something new together. It's Mouthful Monday, although we can probably find a better description of that. Some cool Coimbriense cuisine. That's another way of putting it. But look, what's your fave Portuguese food? Let us know, because that's what we're talking about. Me and Frank are about to embark. Sorry, I should say Frank and I are about to embark on a national tour in the same way that we've been touring around Portugal, albeit virtually with the Wine Club. We are beginning a food tour of Portugal, again, virtually, obviously, with the circumstances that prevail. But hopefully those will be like a couple of spring lambs in due course, bouncing around Portugal, having a great time, trying food everywhere. Let's take a quick look at the weather before we bring Frank on, and a few of you. Actually, let's save the hellos for when Frank's here, because Frank knows a few of these folks. And I want to share with you the weather for the week ahead, because that's part of what Mondays are about, telling you what's coming up this week. We've got another great week planned for you here on the Good Morning Portugal show, and we are fresh from being shared by expats everywhere. I don't know if you saw that over the weekend, but our friends Josh and Kaylee shared well, they did an interview with me that was like turning the tables, and it's been amazing to be part of their community by virtue of that. So thanks very much, Josh and Kaylee. Thanks to everybody who was congratulating us on being featured there. It was great fun, and a lovely interview was created by Josh and Kaylee there. So thanks, you guys up there in Porto, Lisbon this morning. Let's take a quick look at this weather before Frank joins me. 7 degrees, few clouds. Look, sunny days, or a sunny day. I'm looking out of my studio window, and I'm looking across at the well-pruned vineyard, and it's looking beautiful out there this morning, as it must be. Look there in Lisbon, 15 degrees the high today, rising from 7. A little bit cloudy and rainy midweek, but the sunshine is returning for the weekend. Did you see the sunshine in Pete's new remixed intro video there? Slightly different. Those bells were going to raise everybody who far and wide with Pete's remixed intro video there. Thanks very much for that, Pete. It just gets better and better. You're a genius and a star, so thank you, mate. Porto, 5 degrees, clear sky, rising to 14. Similarly, a little bit cloudy and a little bit of rain possibly Wednesday and Thursday. But Friday, we'll see the sun return, and even a sunny weekend up there in Porto. Coimbra, 16 degrees the high. It's looking great. 17 and 18, respectively, tomorrow and the day after on Wednesday. But still, some of that cloud and rain for the week ahead. But look, it's looking like a beautiful day today. Great day to get out, get in the garden. We've got our gardening club tonight, of course, online after 6 o'clock, between 6 and 7. Down in the south, 9 degrees. Clear sky, 15 is the high today. A bit cloudy and rainy, and then cloudy at the start of the weekend, but some spring-like sunshine. 16-degree high coming for Faro next weekend. Isn't this amazing? So let's bring him on now. Bring him onto the screen. My dear friend over there in Coimbra. How are you this morning, Frank?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Pretty good. Yeah, very busy weekend. Like to think of the weekend as a time to relax, but it was actually really incredibly busy in a good way, not complaining, and then stayed up late to switch off and watch a movie, watched the very stylish and poignant A Single Man with Colin Firth in it, which he was rightly awarded for, and with Julianne Moore in there as well. Beautifully made film. How about you, mate? How was your weekend in Coimbra?
Oh, it was amazing. A little bit of sun, a little bit of, as you can see in the background, a little bit of rain. Today is an amazing, beautiful day to be out there. Unfortunately, we're all stuck in here, so we're going to make the most of it. Since the time we've arrived over here, it's been about like 3 weeks to 4 weeks. The frustrating thing is when you are in a city like this with so much culture, The rain and obviously the situation that we're in has kind of not allowed us to be ourselves and go out there, but it will happen soon.
That must be so frustrating. I'm sorry, no offense, Frank, but could you move out of the frame again just for a moment so we can see that beautiful Coimbra vista behind you? Look at that sky, everybody. That's Coimbra. That's Frank and Rachel's rather beautiful, cool Coimbriennes flat there, apartment looking out across Coimbra. Look at that sky. That's what we came here for. Looking like a beautiful day there, Frank.
Yeah, not my mug. I know.
I didn't.
I don't know. I love you.
Sorry. Yeah. I mean, how am I supposed to say that?
move your fat head, Frank.
If any other requests for the Jews, for the view, put them in the comments. Hola, bon dia de alegria. Todos de alegria. Very good. I think we need a few more stanzas of that. The doc, who will of course be joining us on a more regular basis. Let's say hello to a few of our pals here, Frank. Bon dia de Londres from Nick's Diamond over there in London town. How's it over there? Penny Albertella. Hola, bon dia alegria. I'll fill in the blanks there, Penny. Our dear friend, of course, from the wine club as well. Bon dia alegria from Rizal, popping into a meeting, and we'll join the fun afterwards. Thanks, Rizal. Appreciate it. Paul Richards, been enjoying talking to you, Paul, via the various platforms that are available outside of the show. And your photography is off the scale, superb, beautiful. Greetings from a very wet Harrogate. Hey, no wine last night, so got the day right this time. I don't know, Paul, if I might share that story. Just give me a nod if it's okay for me to do that. Oh, Frank's joining us twice, so let's. What happened there? Is that because I was winding you up about being on screen? And now you
no. It was not about that.
Okay, all right. So you're back now, anyway. From Moscow. Hola, bon dia from Caroline. Hello, good morning. That went wrong. Trying to type whilst exercising. Bon dia, alegria. Yes, it's a little bit premature with your greeting there, but I love the multitasking. I love the idea of people exercising whilst watching the show. Barry Maguire. Hey there, from Ireland, Sean Maguire's brother. Hello, Barry. Great to have the.
As long as he's not Harry Maguire's brother.
Okay, who's that?
That's the captain of Manchester United.
Oh, that Harry Maguire. Okay. Yeah, Frank, in case you didn't know, is a Man United fan. You may have something to say about that in the comments. Bon dia, bon dia, alegria. From sunny Cabanas to Tavira, many Portuguese must be missing their breakfast at the cafe of coffee and torrada. Me too. And it isn't just toast, is it, torrada? It's uniquely Portuguese. Those it's like Stonehenge on a plate with butter on it. Bon dia from a very wet Nottingham from Michelle. Carla Freeman. Hello, Carla. I'm looking forward to you being on the show. Bon dia, my first time using a Portuguese greeting, one phrase at a time. Absolutely. That's very good. It's a great start. Bon dia there. Astrid is here as well. Good morning, Astrid. Tuning in today. We are honoured, Astrid, to have you here. Dave Goggin. Yeah, a raise of the... Is it mint tea you've got there, Frank?
I've got Persian cardamom tea.
Oh, listen to him. Persian cardamom tea. Dave Goggins here as well. Morning. It's cold in Ireland. Sorry to hear that, but hopefully that sunshine behind Frank will be warming you up there, Dave. Bon dia from Joel, our pal Joel up there in Porto, our Portugueser, resident Portugueser. Good morning. Okay, you've got my interest. Portuguese food. Absolutely, Anna. What is your favorite? Please, you haven't had any favorites on the screen just yet. Bon dia from Louise, Solo 50 plus expat Portugal. Subscribe. Adrian Caffrey, hola bon dia. Can Frank recommend the best areas to live in and around Coimbra? It always goes off topic on the show, so I think we may be able to touch on that for you, Adrian. Paul Richards, okay, no problem, he says. Had an email from Paul yesterday. Can't find your show. Tried YouTube, tried Facebook. What's happening? And in the email subject line, it said Monday show. Unfortunately, Paul was reminded by his better half, as he described them, that it was Sunday yesterday and not Monday. A little bit too much of the Portuguese vino. He thought it was Monday morning. I was struggling to find the show yesterday. Well, bless you, Paul, for doing that. Lee McGrady. Hey up, Lee. The head gardener's here. Good morning, guys, and everyone from a lovely sunny Lisbon. Isn't it a beautiful day today? Vel Cub is here. Looking forward. I hope you can make the gardening show tonight, Lee, and your busy schedule. Now you're back out and about. Watching from Twin Falls, Idaho, USA. What a brilliantly named place that is, Twin Falls. Bon dia from a snowy Chicago. We still have 2 feet of snow on the ground. Wow, it's lovely to see the images of green in Portugal. I vaguely remember green, says Cindy Green. Lisa, thank you, Cindy, for tuning in this morning. Lisa from the Jersey Bean herself. Bon dia to you, Lisa. And just finally for now, before you tell us what your favorite Portuguese foods are, Bon dia, Matosinhos in the house. What was Sherry and Joel this morning? And another quick one from Belgium with Jenny. Bon dia, alegria todos, from a very sunny and warm 19-degree Belgian spring. Sounds beautiful. So, Frank, favorite Portuguese foods? You, of course, let's set the scene because you're all about the food, aren't you? I mean, you and I share mixed heritage, mixed genes from countries, far-flung countries where food appreciation is huge. We now find ourselves in Portugal where food and wine appreciation is huge. We're having the time of our lives with this, and it's going to be a great adventure. Tell us a little bit about your food background and why you're so interested in food, in grub.
My food background, first of all, having an ethnic mom. My mother's from Iran, my father's from Pakistan, and being in a house that primarily we used to have all Persian food, you get introduced to so many different spices, so many different techniques that you, by the time you leave the house. I left my home at the age of 16. You're able to cook. You're able to fend for yourself, even if you're living in Canada. One of the interesting things that happened to me later is I went to chef school. I finished chef school. And the idea always was for me to have my own catering thing. The catering bit, I did a little bit of it here and there. Because I like being creative as far as food is concerned. I look at it as an enthusiast, not do the chefy bit, even though I have all respect for lovely chefs. But the thing is, for me, the term that I would use is food enthusiast, glutton, or worse comes to worse, you can call me a gastronaut. It's one of those kinds of things that I love traveling around and picking up whatever, because there's small elements of your background everywhere in the Mediterranean. If you go towards Spain, if you're going towards Italy, you are in Portugal, the Moors have been here. There are so many different influences. Yes, so coming over here, and I'm quite sure it's been the same kind of experience for you, where you can, the Eastern influence is all over the place. You just have to look for it. How has yours been coming from an Asian background? How do you find it?
Well, it's the I suppose I was thinking to myself, doesn't everybody love food? And actually, coming from Britain, I have to say that it's changed a lot. And you've lived in the UK, haven't you? Mm-hmm. But if we could compare and contrast 70s, early 80s UK with current UK, I mean, young kids in England don't know they're born these days because food has changed so much in the UK. And I was thinking, is it a bit sort of patronizing and condescending to think that some nations enjoy food more than other nations? I think it probably is safe to say that. For some cultures it's very functional, isn't it? For others, it's everything. And my Chinese mother's answer to everything is food. If there's a difficulty, if there's a celebration, anything to do with life, it's like, okay, well, let's eat. And it's like that's how it's dealt with. And so I have that in my genes, in my culture. And it's so lovely to come to Portugal, where I think it's very similar, actually.
This reminds me, because the thing is, I guess our moms, we've spoken about our wonderful moms. They're such a huge influence especially in ethnic backgrounds. My mom can tell you about 50 different ways turmeric can be used internally and externally.
Yes.
So the solution to everything, according to her, when she'll be like, "Are you sleeping well? Are you okay? Your eyes are a bit puffy. You know what? Before sleeping at night, why don't you grab some warm milk and put some turmeric in there?" I go, "Is there anything that you don't put turmeric in?" I'm like, yeah. Very soon I'm going to be turning yellow. I'm going to look like the opposite Martian.
Yes, indeed. So there we go. We share that culture, and we come to Portugal, and I think it's the same. People do love their food and wine here, and one of the big observations we have, I think, Frank, that we share is the understatedness. It's everywhere. It's everywhere around. It's all part of the culture, but they're not really going on about it too much. So I think it's almost down to us to sing the praises from the rooftops, and this is where our journey begins to do that. You've picked a few dishes that we might look that are Coimbra centric for the time being, and that's a great place to start, obviously, because that's where you live now. But the other thing I wanted to say about you, what I really like about your appreciation of food, how you talk about food, is you're not into pretension at all, are you? And you're kind of skirting around it a bit. You don't want to slag any celeb chefs off, but I know that you don't want to be pretentious about it. It's about the journey and the experience rather than the big I am kind of stuff that goes on sometimes with food. You don't like the term foodie, do you?
I despise the word. If somebody calls me a foodie, I would look at myself. I'd be like, am I such an insufferable pain in the you know what? Like am I that bad? It's I kind of find it a bit of an insult, and there are reasons behind it. It's because the backgrounds that we come from. Food is a way of. So I don't know how many people you had in the house, how many kids there were in the house. In my house, it was about 6 of us, and whatever meals that were created, you would know that the very next day there would be some kind of a mix of it. So a mexidão, as the Portuguese say. So whatever the leftovers are, my mom would take those leftovers and the very next day turn it into something amazing. We wouldn't even know that we ate that thing the day before. And this is where my philosophy of food comes from, if I may. It's very much about being the salt of the earth, the cracked earthenware kind of cooking, kind of eating. When you go to a tasca over here, I usually like going to tascas. I used to live in Lisbon. And in Lisbon, there are like these restaurants where, the big chef, and I'm not going to name the name of this chef, he's selling a plate over there where he rearranges 4 pieces of green peas with 3 shrimp and some cream, and he sells it for €35, €40. And yes. I'm looking at the plate. I went to that restaurant because a friend of ours invited us to this thing. And I'm looking at the plate and I'm going, are you having a laugh? Who's the chef here? What's going on? Where is the food? Because after this, I need a pizza.
So that's a whole different area, isn't it? And we're not really going to go there, are we?
We're not going to go there. There's no use to slag anyone. I think everyone does their best. I think everyone figures out a way to celebrate what they do. There's commerce involved as well. But for us, it's the peace in the belly is what we're looking for, and having nutritious, rich food that this region is all about.
I like that, Frank. Peace in the belly, did you say?
Yes.
Yes, that contentment, and that we definitely get that over here in Portugal. Pete Bleach, good morning, Pete. Bon dia, alegria. Grey in the land that prepositions forgot. He's talking about Kent in the UK. He's so rude about Kent, honestly. And Anna says, don't get me started. Anything cod. Because we started with torrada this morning, which I think is an amazing Portuguese take on having bread for breakfast. But anyway, anything cod, dishes from Alentejo. There's the Moorish influence. Our cheeses, fish, seafood, wine. Oh, and of course, a good fish soup. I guess we'll certainly be not literally, but diving into a Portuguese soup from time to time. Well, maybe we will. Maybe that when we can make films and get our stuff on YouTube, maybe we'll tread grapes in the morning and then we'll dive into a fish soup in the afternoon. Who knows? Bon dia, Prosecco. Peggy is in the house, of course. Should say on Thursday she is proposing and fighting for the Algarve on Thursday on our webinar against an as yet unrevealed Central Portugal opponent. So that should be fun on Thursday night. Looking forward to that, Peggy. Really am. And she says to you, "Hola, bon dia, Patrick Swayze." And I think she's up for the man cave style banter here. Although she says she might have thought she'd done too much on the banter and is blaming the computer for autocorrect for that. But I get that reference. Having been turned into what's the woman called who doesn't get baby? Someone made a video of me. It's superimposed on that woman's face from Dirty Dancing in the man cave, and it was quite. I was watching it, and this is what my man cave buddies are like. I was watching it, thinking, "Hold on, that woman looks like me," and somehow they've done this jib jab style video with me doing Dirty Dancing. And talking of which, Adrian Caffrey. By the way, I enjoyed the man cave. It was a fierce crack. That is great praise indeed. Although I always watch it on Saturday morning, as it's way past my bedtime to watch it live. One of these Fridays, I'll step especially to join in the crack. It was incredible. We had live music, didn't we? We had some Janis Joplin played by the amazing Anna and John, who are with us on Friday. We're coming back to food in a minute, but we've got to say hello to everybody who bothers to show up and be with us. Glorious sunshine in Stella and across the valley to Nazaré. I think people are really feeling it this morning, Frank. It's beautiful sunshine that we can see through your window. Makes a nice change after Saturday's torrential rain. Yeah, we've been through a storm here, haven't we? Mudslides along our roads and towels at the base of the door to stop the water flowing into the house. It's going from one extreme to another here, which is great. But the sunshine extreme, I think, today, we're going to feel that Portuguese sunshine on our faces. So, yeah, Peggy said she's getting it right. Morning, Frank Devane. Leona feeds me turmeric in drinks, but I was already taking turmeric in supplements. So, superfood turmeric making an early appearance on the journey here. Certainly the same being brought up in the UK by an Italian family. Food was all, says Penny. Loving your food references and nearly anecdotes here. We'll move into those, I'm sure. I like everything of the Portugal kitchen is very pure. Sometimes you get not a lot of salad like here in Belgium, but no problem. I just asked for an extra salad. Yes, indeed. With a simple dressing in Portugal, of course.
Salad.
You're not a fan, Frank. So is it just garnish and decoration for you then, the salad on the plate?
Well, garnish. As a matter of fact, when I use herbs, I use to cook it with the herb, not just to throw it in there. So that's some green over there, and they've got like lots of kale and cabbage you can use. You can cook. I like the warm salads. Let's just say that.
Okay, all right, and not the token salads of the chopped sweet onion. Because I never used to eat onions raw until I came to Portugal, and the sweet cebola. What was it? Because you have a Cebola festival, don't you? Which somebody thought was an Ebola festival in Coimbra. but that was hilarious. I think that might have been.
Is that the line you spun to Louisa before kissing her? I've just had a sweet Cebola. You can kiss me. I'm completely harmless.
Kiss my sweet Cebola. Does have a beautiful ring to it. It sounds very romantic. Our favourite is Portugal free-range chicken, says Kate. Resident economist. We must get Kate back soon. The best we've ever tasted. Delicious roasted with local potatoes and rosemary. Oh, okay. So the mouth-watering has begun. And this is rosemary from the neighbour's garden. Just a quick trim in the neighbour's garden there while no one's looking. But you probably get a whole sprig of neighbour's rosemary, don't you, in with your citrus. That's another part of Portuguese food we're going to be talking about. The absolute abundance here as well. So that sounds wonderful. The campo, frango de campo there, the free-range chicken. I really enjoy that. I'd love a cooking lesson with Frank. Oh, there's an idea.
My pleasure.
Yes, okay, we're in. That's great. Gusto de robalo grelado, the grilled robalo fish. Of course, another Portuguese speciality, the grilled fish. I mean, the seafood and then the grill, of course. Yes, roast chicken on Sunday would become risotto for dinner and vermicelli soup for lunch on Monday. That's what you're talking about. The
Absolutely.
Right? Panna cotta would be fried when stale with cream. Yum. This is what the nonnas and the Donnas know exactly what to do with food. And they were like the early food DJs, weren't they? Doing mashups and remixes long before the likes of Fabio and Groove Rider came along. Sorry.
I'm yet to see a chef do a show with food from yesterday.
Yes. I suppose the producers are thinking that hasn't got a very brilliant ring to it. Food from yesterday. I'm Lebanese Pakistani, and I know exactly that one pot dish rehashed for the following day, always with rice. Is that right, Frank?
Yes, it's the one. Funny enough, the next day it will be a one pot dish, and the mothers or the nonnas or the grandmas will figure out a way of using some pepper, some other spice, and just bringing it all together. You won't even know that you ate that yesterday. This is yesterday's leftover. That is the charm. That is the artistry of cooking.
Yeah.
Because raw stuff, you get yourself some amazing beef, or you get yourself some amazing chicken breast. You can do so many different things with it. It's the yesterday stuff.
Yesterday, we got to find what do we call it? We can't call it vintage and retro either, can we? Although that was almost the style, bringing back that approach to housekeeping. I think that's going to be part of this journey, Frank. I'm loving this, and thank you, Hannah, for that. Really, it's great to have you here this morning. Good morning from Alentejo, from Anna Forsberg, who I suspect has some Swedish influence going on there, and maybe tell us a little bit about Swedish food, because sadly, IKEA has dominated the world with Swedish meatballs. We know about gravlax, don't we? And the word smorgasbord obviously comes from Sweden.
And cheap breakfast.
Cheap breakfast. But Anna, you've got to balance that up for us now that culture war has been won by IKEA. Regarding food, it's all about cabbage and kale now. The garden is full of it. So maybe next Monday, this is going to be regular. This is going to be a fabulous Monday mouthful from Frank. Maybe we can talk about the old cabbage and kale next Monday, because newcomers to Portugal need to know what to do with that, don't they?
It's when you go to the farmers market, that is where you find a live library of the food that is available. And especially once you start looking at the ladies, the camponesas, once you're going there on a regular basis, they're so helpful. I'll tell you, we go to the farmers market here on Tuesdays and Fridays. That's when all the fresh stuff comes in. And when you go over there, if they see you very often, by the time, like you say, how much is this? And they'll throw in a few different vegetables and stuff. And they'll be, is there anything else? And you'll be like, no, I'm all good. And as they're saying that, they'll throw in 2 bunches of coentro and salsa, and they'll shut it and they'll just give it to you for free. And they'll be like, all this for like €2 or €3. The price is insignificant. It's the generosity. It's the love with which they grow these foods, and they want you to eat it. They want you to cook it.
There we go. Well, so we'll have some video of Frank, I think, in due course at the market in Coimbra as well, because that will be beautiful as well. That will be beautiful. Yeah, really nice to do that. Here we go. Gary's here. Good morning, Gary. Our other pal. Well, both of our pals from the Man Cave here, Joel and Gary, here this morning. The on-screen Man Cavers, as well as a few others here this morning. Looking forward to some of Frank's Oasis soup, because you get a roll with it. Oh, dad joke.
You got to take your time.
The dad joke du jour there from Gary. Thanks for that, bon dia, amigo. And Pete's trying to set me up here. Let's see if I can get through this sentence alive. Can't wait for wild game. Childhood memories of plucking pheasants. I think I did that okay. Wild boar sounds lovely. I don't think, is he having a go at us there? I'm not sure. And there we go. There's the genre, Frank. The réchauffe cooking. Does that mean something to you?
Réchauffe, I guess it's a very nice way of using the leftovers.
Yesterday's food. If we call it yesterday's food in Portuguese, then that will have a really nice continental ring to it, won't it?
It would, yeah, because calling it leftovers is such a shame. It's not leftover. It's previously loved food.
Previously loved food. Although that doesn't sound entirely wholesome.
Doesn't sound very good.
What about bring forwards instead of leftovers? We're still working. It's a work in progress.
We're still working. It's a work in progress. We'll get to it.
Réchauffe. It sounds really classy so far, though. Thanks for that, Penny. This is a great question, Frank. I love an answer from you on this. Do you notice many health benefits when moving over to a warmer climate and these food choices here in Portugal? What do you say about that?
Absolutely. You know exactly how I feel about that. Coming from a cooler climate like in Canada, and God bless Canada, wonderful country, because the winters pretty much are 7 or 8 months. You get a lot of your food from the south. So you get your food from either Mexico or the US. And these foods, vegetables, fruits, they're picked before they're ripe. And by the time they get to you, they're not in the best shape possible. Over here, what you love when you come to a country like this is everything is about the season. So if it's pomegranate season, you see loads of them. You go somewhere and there's pomegranate juice, there's this, there's that. These days, it's all about the kale, it's all about the cabbage. It's the seasonality of it that I love coming over here.
Yep, absolutely. And the other side of that, of course, is you may know, I mean, I mentioned it before, Frank and I are in the Good Morning Portugal wine club. So yes, on the one hand, we are feeling the benefit of eating a lot of fresh food and the vitality that brings. But we've also been drinking quite a lot of wine. So it's like one step forward and one step back in a way. I'm definitely a bit stiffer and creakier, I think. But that might be just a winter thing with all the red wine I've been drinking. So I think it's a kind of it's a balancing thing, isn't it? You've got to go back.
I see a glow in you, Carl.
Oh,
Like
thank you so much.
it's the glow from the wine, from the red wine. You know, like your cheeks are red.
Yeah.
You don't need. I need to sometimes powder my nose. You don't. You look beautiful on screen.
That's a really nice way of saying I've got a boozer's hooter there. I think, like, as all I think all seasoned presenters on screen should have a bit of a boozer's hooter every now and then. Oh, lovely comments coming in, but we'll come back to those because I want to just show you a website, 7 delicacies you must try, that Frank sent to me. Should we just talk a couple of sentences about each of these, Frank, because we've got a lot to get through here. But this was mentioned the other day, wasn't it? The old goat stew, which really also sounds really unappetizing. But tell us about Shanfana.
Shamfana is this wonderful dish. It is an old goat. So you can see you could see the as far as the food itself is concerned, as far as the animal itself is concerned, nothing goes to waste, right? And it's the main thing about this is has to be done in a black clay pot, and it's the old goat stew. We are very lucky to have this amazing neighbor, and one of the first days we arrived over here, she cooked the shanfana for us, and she told me that it has to be an old goat, it has to be Vinho do Lavrador, so it's the farm wine that they make, and it's kind of sour, and they cook this. It's such a beautiful stew. There are 1 or 2 locations, tascas in town that are known for making amazing shamfana. One of them is actually right opposite the prison over here. So I'm quite sure the prison guards are having a blast with this dish.
Yeah, you chuck that into the conversation. So you're in an interesting part of Coimbra there, and it's probably something that the people getting out of jail look forward to, straight out and into a shamfana to get some proper like home cooking. Because that's the thing, you get home cooking in cafes here, don't you? That's with these establishments that you love so much, Frank. You know the idea of the mom and pop store. This is the mom and pop cafe. It's certainly my romantic idea of it. Is that grandma or husband and wife team, someone's out front, someone's out back, and it's what they would cook, on a bigger scale, obviously, but it's family food, isn't it?
It doesn't have a wine list. When you go in, you basically are saying vinho da casa, so vinho branco or vinho tinto or jarrinha. So you'll get like a small jug of wine. You'll have amazing rustic food that these 2 old ladies are making in the back. And when it comes in, it will not be presented like a chef. It'll be popping out of this little pot. You'll be one of the things while I was looking at the food servings are concerned, because I was just like, is this a half serving? Not that I'm going to send it back, but this is beautiful. It's these huge servings for next to nothing. And you sit down, you have it with the wine. It's the atmosphere. It's the guys talking loud. It's the laughter. It's everything. It's just, when you sit in that atmosphere, you just get completely enveloped. This is what I love about being in a town like this.
And because you live near these lanes in Coimbra, don't you? And I noticed the last time I was there are people sat in these cafes and restaurants, and there's no sign even. It's just the locals know where they are. They don't say who they are. There's no menu outside even sometimes, is there? You just go in and you get what you're given.
No, there's this old guy outside having a smoke. So you're like, what's going on in there? You pass by and you go inside this place and you say to yourself, all right, what am I gonna have? Take that risk. This is what I usually say. Take that risk. Go inside. Give them the business. They will not disappoint you. Tascas are what it's all about. There is no wine menu. You just basically say vinho branca. If you don't speak English, my Portuguese isn't the best, but I could go in there and I could be like, oh, vinho branco, jarrinho, and sign language. It's a combination. It's a beautiful combination, sign language and half Portuguese.
Yeah, and even if you don't speak any Portuguese, if you're brave enough, as Frank says, to just wander in and sit down, and obviously we don't want to send foodies in there who are going to say, oh, could I have the wine menu, please? Don't do that in there.
Out of there, out of there. Go there's the door.
Don't mess it up for us in there. Go in, and even if you just make a mouth gesture that you want to eat, that you'll get a knowing nod, and then some wine will come, and then I think some food will come soon after, and it will just be understood as the universal language of food that I think we were talking about earlier on.
Absolutely. This is the one thing I want to tell everyone who's come from either Canada, United States, UK. We didn't come over here to eat burgers. We didn't come over here to eat fish and chips. They're amazing. I know we long for it when we're away from these things because we've had it all. But let's give this a chance. I think the food is amazing. You will not be disappointed. As a matter of fact, you'll get addicted.
Yeah, absolutely, and you can eat out every lunchtime because that's the other thing. And I know you hesitated there because you said it's not about the price, and it is one of those annoying expat habits, isn't it, to say, oh yes, well we went out and we got we spent only 10 euros and we had lunch and stuff, and there is something in that. I mean, I think it's worth making cost of living comparisons, but I don't think you want to be going on too much, do you, about how cheap everything is and all that sort of stuff. I don't think that's classy. But the great thing about it is, given how good value these foods are, this what is it, prato do dia, where you're going to get your soup when you arrive as well as your glass of wine, then you can have a main course, then you might have a sobremesa and a coffee, and you might get all of that for 6 or 7 euros, maybe 8 euros.
Precisely.
You can eat out, you can go out and have a cultural experience and a lunch most days of the week when we're out of the lockdown, obviously.
Yes. Yes. Right. Let's specify that.
With hands together.
We haven't gotten together. We're just doing this far away from each other. We'll be doing this
about this. So on to arroz de lamprey, the lamprey stew. That's looking a bit more gourmet there, isn't it?
It's a bit more gourmet until I tell you what it is. It's this lamprey. It's the fish itself that comes from this Mondego River behind me. And the interesting thing about this stew or this rice dishes, they use the blood of the lamprey fish as the stock for it, and it's beautiful. Just like most of the food around here, because nothing gets wasted, as I said. You use a few spices, you use a few herbs. There's always a chorizo to bring up the taste of the food, even in a lot of seafood dishes. So it's just wonderful. This lamprey fish, if you look at it, it looks like a little snake. Well, it's a bit bigger than the snake. It's wonderful to eat, this one.
It's that fish then that we've looked at and thought, my goodness, what's that? And then blood in recipes. Apologies to the vegetarians and vegans. You'll get your go on the show here on a Monday, probably when Frank's on holiday, because maybe the doc will step in and we'll do a vegetarian vegan special, because I don't think Frank is, I mean, no disrespect, you're just not qualified or particularly interested in that, are you?
I'm not. Let's just say I'm not qualified. I'll tell you this. I got nothing against vegans. Vegetarians are lovely people. They're very nice. The only thing is, when you come to Portugal, it must be very difficult to be a vegan or vegetarian, right?
Yep, indeed. We'll find out. So when Frank can't make it one Monday, because this really should be a regular feature, and it will be. When Frank, for any reason, can't make it on a Monday, we'll have a vegan vegetarian step in to cover that, because I think it's a good thing to talk about.
When Frank can't conveniently make it,
but Frank actually can't as we've said, he's not qualified to do that. So moving on to the next one, Frank. What is that called there? We're actually looking at Coimbra's own town hall website here. This is how important food is in this culture. What is an arrofada? Looks like a hot cross bun.
It is a hot cross bun. If you look at it, it's like this a little pastry kind of a thing. The one thing about before I get into that, the one thing about Coimbra is very important. It's a city of monasteries, and the nuns rule the roost over here. So you'll find that in most of the sweets, and what the nuns were doing is they were using the egg whites as starch when they ironed, right? So there was a lot of egg yolk around. So
Yeah.
egg yolk, almonds, and sugar.
Yep.
They used a lot of it in almost everything. So they made parcels with this stuff in it, got creative with it. And also, this was also a way for them to pay the local students, for them, the fado singers, to come
Yep.
and sing while they gave them these sweets.
Uh-huh.
This arrafada looks like it's something. It's like a cup. If you have a look at it. Oh yes, this
Sorry, no,
one.
we'll come back. We'll come back to that. But the arrafada there. I mean, what I noticed, Frank, is there's some rather phallic markings on this, and I've noticed that the Portuguese aren't against a little bit of a whimsical play on sexuality and fertility in their foods as well.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful sense of humor.
Yes, absolutely. So there's some more pastéis there, and you make a great point about how the monks and the nuns are involved in this, and the egg leftovers. Again, the reuse of what wasn't being used to starch collars or whatever. Pastel de nata comes around, and Ovish Molosh has that root as well. The cruziosh there, and then the subject of some puerile hilarity on Friday night in the man cave, the manjar branco, also known as the nun's breast. Those monks, what were they like? Do you want to say anything about this, or should we smartly move on?
Well, it's something that is eaten over here. It's worth talking about this. It's in Portuguese it's called maminha de freira, and this thing is interesting because there's this dish which is a nun's breast. There's also another sweet thing called a nun's barriga, which is a nun's stomach. So the body parts of various nuns are kind of in the direction they're going in.
Honored.
This one is very interesting because it's got chicken breast meat in it. It's something sweet. It's on a little clay plate. It's a I haven't had this one as yet, and when I do, the day I do, I will make sure to do a video on this one.
Because that's gonna. I mean, just the title alone on YouTube is going to get you a lot of visits, isn't it? Frank eating a nun's breast in Coimbra. Yes, good times. You're listening.
Oh,
you're viewing.
Wait until my mum sees that. Oh my God.
Yeah, when she hears,
I'll be out of the will.
I've been making a video about eating a nun's breast in Portugal. Oh, I knew I shouldn't have let you go over there, Frank. Right, you're watching Good Morning Portugal with Expats Portugal here with Frank Devane. He's our man. He with the Monday mouthful, the Coimbrians cool cuisine man. He's here this morning launching our new food feature for a Monday morning. What a great way to start the week. Let's go back to a few of the comments here because they have been fabulous. Even there is mention of fish and chips and a fish and chip recommendation from Jerry this morning. And we've got lots of lovely comments. Absolutely brilliant. So yeah, Dave Goggin, I think we've dealt with that. I mean, the food is fresh and vital. It's gonna be great when you get here and start enjoying that, I'm sure, and with the local wine as well if you're into that. Belated hola, bon dia from California. Hank, where you been, man? Good to see all our friends here. Sally's here as well. Morning all. My favorite is atún algarvia, the tuna algarve style tuna steak.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, and then we were talking, weren't we, in the wine club about, you know, what fish do you have red wine with? Tuna would work, wouldn't it, with a nice red, with a kind of tomato, onion and red pepper sauce on top, accompanied with the usual boiled potatoes. I'm hungry, Frank. My mouth is watering.
Steak of the sea, tuna with red wine, beautiful.
Yeah, is it me or are the potatoes in Portugal extra tasty? It's not just you; they are. They
are sexy potatoes.
Sexy potatoes. The first Portuguese dish I ever tried was named assorda. I think was a long time ago. Was in Los Angeles. I've got a funny assorda story. It's an unusual dish. Do you like the assorda, Frank?
Assorda is which one?
It's the one when I was having dinner. This is when I came to Portugal over 10 years ago. Having dinner in a restaurant in either Peniche or Nazaré on the Silver Coast there, and I saw this thing on the menu, a sorda, and it was. I love seafood, so I'm thinking I'll have the prawns seafood thing that's going on here, and it's, you know, the dishes that you know, like in Chinese food when the waiter comes and he does his sort of culinary kung fu on the duck in front of you. Or in Italy, you've got there's someone setting fire to a liqueur. There's that stage. There's a way to stagecraft, isn't there? And this is the Portuguese opportunity for that. So it's basically, I mean, we're talking about remixed food here. Again, this is a real theme for us this morning. But a sorda, as far as I understand it, is some of the leftover bread mixed up in a kind of porridge. And this is throughout all cultures. The Chinese do this as well, of
Yes.
course. So you've got the bread there. You know, some cultures would use rice instead, but you've got the bread, you've got the seafood, and the waiter chucks in an egg and then does a flourish in front of you with a knife and fork, grinds a bit of pepper on it, maybe a sprinkling of sea salt. There you go, seafood porridge for dinner. It wasn't a massive hit for me. I think I might have preferred prawns with a salad or some of these potatoes we mentioned, but a sourdough, very important, very important. Oh yeah, and I had a very yes, with Mr. Perkins when we ate in Anadia, went to a lovely restaurant. We had a real sort of modern take on the assorted, which was delicious actually. When they made the kind of porridgey bit a side dish rather than the mainstay of the dish. Enough of my own anecdotes there. Pre-loved foods, he says Hank. Nice time for a tuna salad, says Joel. Lee says, my partner's of Cape Verdean heritage. Her mother is a fantastic cook. We got to go there as well, haven't we? With a real mix of Portuguese and Cape Verdean. That's going to be an amazing. Whether we actually go to Cape Verde or we just find out about it remotely, that's going to be a good show. With the extended family, the parties have the best food. That sounds like...
Oh, yes.
Yeah, family.
It's all about family.
Yes, indeed. Pre-loved food. Over here, we have pre-loved water. It has been through about 30 people before it reaches you. Reuse. That's London he's talking about. Thames water. God bless them. Reuse the food from yesterday for a complete other dish is normal here in Belgium. Not in the UK. It's for some people, yes. Old school, Mrs. Beaton, all of that, yes. But I think in more modern times, not so much. You know, there's that horrific thing, Jenny, that I've heard of where the consumer culture means that people go shopping on a Saturday morning. They go shopping, buy what they want. They come home and they pull everything out of the fridge and put it straight in the bin and put the new stuff in the fridge, and around it goes again like that. That is criminal, isn't it, Frank?
It's the kind of crime where I hope I'm not around these people.
Yes, Frank will be schooling people who do that. Old goat stew. Oh, Peter, stop it. Does that involve mother-in-laws? No, it doesn't. Stop it. If at Peter Bleach, if your wife doesn't find out, oh, this is tasty, dear. What's in this? That's wonderful. I think that's your story there, Hank. Lol, fish and chips. Yeah, Leona's downfall. And we do have a recommendation for Coimbra, actually. Talking of sign language, our Portuguese teacher showed us one for missing your mouth. I think he just wants me to do this on screen. After my embarrassment on Friday, when I was massaging myself out of camera, I don't think we should we try this for Pete? Is he
Don't do that.
Don't miss your mouth with eating.
Nice try, Peter. Nice try.
Which means, do you think I'm stupid? One for Philomena. Yeah, right, Pete, whatever. Yes, Carl, it's not the cost, it's the value. Absolutely. Well put. Yummy, says Rizal. And I'm not sure what that was referring to, but yes, generally speaking, it's a yummy start for Frank here. Tem forma. What does that mean? I have hunger? Well, that's 10 fama, isn't it? So you go in and you just say, I'm hungry, and then the wine and food will appear. Is that what you do, Gary? And Alviagra over there? The Coimbrien's recommendation for fish and chips is the green fish. And I imagine that is a great hybrid of the cultures there. Anna Forsberg.
It must be. It must be.
Mustn't it? Although there is the story, isn't there, Frank? The fish and chips for the British came from Portugal. It was Portuguese inspired, right?
It is Portuguese inspired. It's at least the preparation of it. I can see how it's been inspired over here. It's because there's such a huge variation of fish that's eaten over here, and the way the technique of doing it, frying it, grilling it. But mostly I see the fish done in Portuguese culture as grilled.
Yeah. Yep. And beautifully so. I mean, and so many people in Portugal have their own grill, of course, don't they? Where this is as soon as we saw Neil, didn't we, getting his barbecue out 2 weekends ago because it had got above zero. That's what British people do. As soon as the temperature goes above zero, they get the barbecues out. For Portuguese people, it has to be a bit warmer than that, 20, I think. And then they're out in the grill that they've got in the garden. I love that part of Portuguese culture as well. So as far as Sweden goes, I'm a vegetarian. Tell us more, Anna, about Swedish cuisine.
Anna, you know what we'll try doing is we'll try doing some vegetarian stuff as well. Because there are a few dishes over here that do cater to vegetarians. Vegetarian food is obviously amazing. Over here, the cabbage, the kale, such a huge variation of this. I've seen two different kinds of cauliflowers here. There's such amazing variety over here to work with.
Yep. Oh, yes, that long fish. I always wondered about it. There you go. So a mystery soul for Rizal there. The lamprey, that would be. Food with Frank. Thank you for that. These are other titles for the show. Food with Frank. And Gary came up with Frank about food. Mr. Perkins there, the man in the barbecue picture that we saw a couple of weekends ago. Great to have you here, Neil, this morning. Not too difficult. You should have tried being vegan in the 80s anywhere. You were a vegan in the 80s. This man is an early adopter radical, isn't he, in our midst here? Mark Rigby, bon dia from Povoa de Vagem, late today. No worries, Mark. Great to have your company. Bon dia, alegria todos. Our favorite dishes are afogada de boda and secretos de porco preto. What are they, Frank? Do we know?
Well, one of the secretos de porco preto. That's the black pork. It's the classic of Alentejo. This thing you hear about all the way in Canada when you come over here. It's the special diet, I guess the pork has. It's unbelievable. Afogado de boda, not so much. If you can tell us about it, it will be amazing. And maybe I can do something on afogado de boda. I'll first try it, cook it, and tell you guys all about it.
Yes. And what are you going to do? Is this on Instagram? Is this on YouTube? Is it going to be? Are we going to start something up together? What do you want to do with that, Frank?
Yes, we're gonna do all of it. We're gonna do YouTube, Instagram, because what I want to do is when hopefully everything opens up, we can go to the farmers market. I think the first place to start is a farmers market. Get the food. We'll do some cooking. We'll go around town and check everything that is going on and give the experience of when you go to a Tashka. What can you do? What do you do? There's not much to be done. Once you see how it is, you will really, really enjoy the experience.
Fantastic. Avocado. I mean, sounds like an affogato to me, which is the ice cream with a coffee on it. But obviously that's very different, the affogato de boda. Tell us more. Anna Forsberg. And in this country, with all fruit, beans, veggies that grows here all year round, it is heaven. The restaurants have more to know. That's a very fair comment, Anna, isn't it? Because if you are a vegan or a vegetarian, the produce is amazing for you. It's just when you step into an establishment, I don't think the culture's quite there yet, out of the big cities. Are there any cloistered nuns selling sweets in Coimbra? Is this another veiled troublemaking thing that Pete's doing? The nun's body parts, fantastic. Nun's belly, that would be. Yeah, which is a bit different to nun's stomach, isn't it? But these things can get lost in translation. But nun's belly sounds great. Puerile humor in a man cave, surely. I know it's hard to believe, Doc, but sometimes it does descend into that, as well as Joel will tell you, political insight. We do it. We cover all bases there. Bon dia alegria. Food is my favorite topic, says Mark over there in Australia this evening for him. But I am late and I can't stay, so I'll have to watch later. Thanks, Carl and Frank. Well, when you come back later, put in the comments what your faves are, Mark. Yubi's here as well. Bon dia mondo de boa comida. What is that? That's good morning world of good food. Yes, indeed. Fantastic.
Great food.
Bon dia, Pete B from Peggy there. Let's get the thumbs up, guys, on the YouTube algorithms. Yes, thanks for suggesting that. Thumbs ups are great. Thank you very much. It really helps. As an Irishman, it hurts to say, but yes, Sally, Portuguese spuds are the best. Now, we take our hats off to you there, Jerry. That is quite an admission, isn't it, for an Irishman to be making here?
That's a rock star admission. I love that, Jerry. I'll hold you to that.
Frank, there he goes. What a good timing that is. Frank, are you drinking a glass of Kref there?
It hasn't gotten to it as yet.
Not yet. That's in another episode, I think.
The week still doesn't need to be saved.
Yubi says, I never met a potato I didn't like. Oh, I put a photo up of Peruvian potatoes. I mean, the colors of those beauties over there in South America, obviously it's a South American, not a European thing, but we've ended up with just like white and red here. How did that happen?
It's in South America, it's a completely different deal. Their soil is fertile. They do such amazing stuff over there, especially when you in Brazil and towards the north. Oh my God, exotic stuff.
Yeah. Paul, good. This is good. I'm looking for a recommendation in the UK for that wonderful Portuguese dish of fish and chips. Well said, Paul. Hank, potatoes, boil them, mash them, put them in a stew. We're coming up with a song there. Yeah, we do need an album for Christmas, so perhaps that could be one of the tunes on there. Hank, you and Jerry could probably cover that one. It's easy to cook vegetarian food in Portugal, says Kate. There's lovely fresh veg grown locally, so everything from watercress here. Oh yes, cabbage sauce on pasta burst with flavour, and so many lovely cheeses to accompany the local wine. Those concerned with climate change should limit their meat consumption, says The Economist. Boo! But yes,
thank you, Kate. Love you too.
OMG, says Jenny. I don't know why, but she's saying it. Bubble and Squeak, ultimate leftovers. There you go. There's your brummy Bubble and Squeak there. Double bubble there. That's, yeah, of course. Going back into the generations, the British do know how to deal with, as Paul puts it here, refocused food. Very good. We're getting some very, very good suggestions here. Carl, are you flour and the text also? I don't know what that means, Jenny. Please explain that. When the Royal Navy was at its height, you had to eat fish every day, including sweet. What? Sweet? Have you ever cooked a sweet fish dessert? Or
I've heard about it, but I haven't eaten any of those. It sounds very interesting. I don't know what I would do if it was in front of me, but it does sound interesting.
There must be a bacalhau dessert, mustn't there?
There has to be, right? It's 365 different ways of doing bacalhau in this country.
At least. Good morning from Jacqueline Branco. Okay now. Oh, okay. She was having a bit of tech trouble there. What time do the restaurants, cafes close in Portugal? I heard you can eat outside until late. Do you want to take that, Frank?
Oh, till late. The one thing that we have to remember, lunchtime is a specific time. So lunchtime will be anywhere from 12 to 2 or maximum 3 o'clock. And then there's a short siesta. So the restaurants are not open. They will probably open at 7. And most of them, if it's one of those small tasks, they'll be open till about 11:30. Some do open till very, very late. And then they'll be serving some pica-pau and stuff like that for you to pick on. Beautiful stuff.
Pica-pau, yes. Oh, this is so great, Frank. Glad you're here this morning. Glad we started this. That answers your question, Dave. Although if you've got a young family, as I have, and you're in that, so you're still on British time, and you try and turn up at a cafe at 5, and you ask for something to eat, quite rightly, you get like, what? It's like, the children are hungry. Well, let these children have a Portuguese life and bring them out to eat at 9 o'clock. What are you thinking? Or 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock? Families in restaurants still at 11 at midnight at night. Isn't it great to see?
I've seen a kid falling half asleep with a bone in his hand. And he's trying to decide between eating that piece of chicken or going to sleep. He's eating the chicken.
And we've been that kid, haven't we? From the families.
Yes.
We've been that kid. I mean, it's like being at a wedding reception or whatever, asleep on the big pile of coats with a chicken drumstick in your hand and your first taste of beer from that naughty uncle, who, of course, is Frank. This is the beginning of a haiku. The black pigs eat acorns. We need the second part of that beautiful little bit of poetry there. But that's almost the name of an album or an autobiography, isn't it? The black pigs eat acorns.
And imagine if their diet is acorns, how tasty this pig will be. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend the vegetarians or vegans. This thing is heaven on earth.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna have to stop saying that, because we will be talking about all foods, and I'm very mindful of it. Like, sorry to the vegans, vegetarians, but I think maybe we just need to have a stand. We'll say it once at the beginning of the show, and then not have to keep saying it. Hey, Frank, how about some expat cooking classes? We're there already, Hank. I think that's a goer. Avogado de Boda is out. Oh, so we're still no better off. What does that mean, Frank? I think
AOAT.
Yes.
Is goat? It's
goat. Okay, it's goat. Another Shamfana kind of variant there. I forgot a drowned the Boda wedding. Going back to weddings is similar to a Shamfana, but uses young goat.
Lovely Portuguese humor,
isn't it? Drown the goat in wine. Sorry to the vegetarians again. Okay, so Rizel is here saying that the vegetarian restaurants in Portugal serve delicious dishes, very tasty. So she's having a good experience of that. Jani's saying, estou a ficar com fome. That is something to say when you go in to describe your hunger, I suspect. And then we go. It's the traditional bread oven. Never mind the grill. Next to the grill in a traditional Portuguese house might be the bread oven. Isn't that a fantastic thing to see as well, Frank?
Broa. And funny enough, Broa was brought over here by the Germans.
Was it?
It's the broa, and obviously then the Portuguese added the chorizo, broa con chorizo. Have you had the broa con chorizo? And for those who don't know, broa is the what was it?
Cornbread.
Cornbread, and it tastes so amazing the next day. I love broa on the next day.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
settles nicely.
That's always one to have in the kitchen, isn't it? Because you can't. Whereas like your daily quotidien bread, that should be eaten on the day. You got to. I guess you can make an assorted with that, but your cornbread's going to keep going in it for a couple of days. That's your backup bread.
A little bit of butter, a little bit of cheese, and you're having your broa, and it settles in nicely right before lunch. And then after lunch, before dinner, if you feel like doing a little bit more, it's beautiful.
There's Frank having a broomance there. Very good. So that's the affogato de boda. It's his goat with potatoes with mint, all cooked in a terracotta pot. Yes, terracotta pot cooking. We need to go there too, and serve direct to table with cabbage, with cornbread and carrots. Yummy. My tummy is rumbling now. My mouth is watering. This is fantastic, Gary. Typically erudite. You can't believe that there's any purity in the man cave, and then a comment comes out like that. OMG for throwing food away. Oh yeah, absolutely, Gianni. There should be a law against it, and then maybe there will be one day. But I mean, the celeb chefs, to be fair to them in the UK, have done a lot to change that around, I think. So love them or loathe them, they have done some good work.
They've done a lot, but one thing they've not done is taught people how to cook.
Okay, all right. This is smoke and mirrors when it comes to that bit. Yeah, isn't
Magic show.
Yeah, that's TV for you. I found out how to get the French accents, réchauffé, cooking. Oh, I see. So it's réchauffé rather than réchauffe, as I said it. So réchauffé is what we might go with. The secretos of the porco preto is the cut on the top of the back of the neck. That's very specific. And the bode is a dish with the old goat. The old goat, says Neil. Cheers, Neil. Recommended. She's recommending. Paula Louise and Lottie are recommending Casa Tia Augusta in the Gisto village of Figueira for the best affogato de boda. And we want those recommendations. That's fantastic. Pop that in.
Absolutely amazing. These schist villages, like we've got ones in Lausanne over here. These schist villages with their little restaurants are amazing. Thank you very much for the recommendation. It's
do please. We do have those coming up in the forum at expatsportugal.com. That sounds like a worthy addition to that collection. Plenty of wild boar about, says Gary. I don't know if he's winding us up again there, but it's actually true. And I've seen a lot of people complaining on social media about boars, rampaging through their gardens and land at the moment. I never waste food, says Beverly. Everything is revamped into another dish. Well, glad to hear it. I think this community is about that, isn't it? Or a soup as a last resort, and then finally to the hens on the land via the court. Absolutely. It's the circle of life, Beverly. Frank, it was just after 10, and that was an easy hour, talking about a great love of many here, I think, food. It seems only right, before I tell everybody what's coming on for the rest of the week, Frank, that we finish with dessert. So we have another site to share. A very quick go through, if you wouldn't mind, mate. And we'll literally leave people wanting more. But what is this? The 10 sweets from the cloistered convents of Coimbra. Here, so let me just bring this onto the screen now. You wanted me to share.
One of them is actually very close to where I live, right in Praça 8th May. It's the Café Santa Cruz, and they do these beautiful things called cruzios, almond. Once again, there you go.
There's your nun's breasts.
Nun's breasts. There's that cup dessert.
Yeah.
You can fill it up with peanut butter if you'd like. And then this one's the pastéis de Santa Clara. Beautiful.
Yeah. They look like little Cornish pasties, don't they? But presumably they're filled with a custard or an egg paste or something?
Apparently the idea for Cornish pasties, this is where it comes from as well.
For confectionery, this monastery received this caught my eye. This monastery received up to 8 arrobas of sugar per year. That's probably quite a lot. Due to the consumption of the delicacies they produced, it was found in recent investigations of the nun skeletons that they often suffered from dental problems, such as cavities and falling teeth.
My question is, why did you dig the poor nuns up?
Yes, exactly. Leave them alone.
Leave them alone.
Now, this is what's the shredded item on top of that you see here on these Portuguese cakes? Is that carrot or is it something else?
It's definitely not carrot. This one I have not had as yet. This is something I'm looking forward to. It looks very interesting.
Threads composed of egg layers and threads. I think that's another
Yes.
egg thing there, isn't it?
Another egg thing. And the next one is this beautiful almond, almost like a little cookie.
Is that the nuns' bellies? The bellies of the monks' bellies, maybe.
The monk's bellies.
Oh, monk's belly. Is that what a monk's belly looks like? I don't want. You don't have to answer that. Penacova. That's a beautiful name for a dessert, isn't it? That's a snow-capped Penacova, isn't it?
Oh, it's another sexy dessert.
I'm gonna have to eat before we do this in future. This is unbearable.
What we can do is we can bring it all together and try each one and tell them exactly how it tastes. This tentugal is these little parcels of heaven. They are unbelievable as well.
And you're in a kind of baklava territory here, aren't you? With that sort of texture.
Yes, this is like a creamy egg yolk mix in there.
All right. And what are these? That's an interesting Benny Hill kind of shot, isn't it? The translation on screen is street. So it was like a street vendor's bun or something, isn't it? I guess.
Pretty much. Don't drag me there, Carl Munson.
It's talking about buns. The Prince carving as well. Look at that with the icing on the top of that. Oh, we got to stop this, Frank. This is unbearable, isn't it? Okay, that was delightful, delicious, amazing debut from my pal here, Frank Devane, who's going to be with us with the Monday Mouthful. Anything else you want to add
before we go? Yes, there's this book on Culinary Portuguesa. It's called Oleboma. I think I sent you an image of this book. If anyone can get a hold of this book, if I can borrow it, this is the Bible of Portuguese gastronomy. Just like the French chef Escoffier, he had done a book for modern cooking. This is the Bible for Portuguese cooking. If you can get a hold of it, you do a lot of these recipes that we're talking about, a lot of these foods that we're talking about are in there. And if I can borrow it, it'd be amazing. We can do some of these foods in there.
I'm struggling to open that, the image up of that. But every culture has one, doesn't it? The kind of culinary Bible. Yes. Okay. And this is the Portuguese one. That's fantastic. So a few more comments that you might want to address here before we do disappear for this morning, at least. You could do a list of 100 restaurants to try, as well as the 1,000 places to go.
Absolutely.
It's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it. And I think we're up for that, Pete. Young folk need to have been taught cooking basics and using up food items. It's criminal to waste. You're absolutely right.
Spot on, Beverly.
I agree with you. Kashupa, eaten the day after cooking, is heaven. Do we know what a kashupa is?
It is. Kashupa, I'm not really sure. I've heard of it, but kashupa I haven't tried as yet.
Yeah, okay.
Lee, tell us more about that.
Yeah, indeed. Best fish and chips are at the Via Val between us and Penella. There's a fish and chip recommendation. That's great. Pastel de nata. We haven't even mentioned the pastel de nata, have we? From Alcoa Bakery, voted best in Portugal. John Hayfield, Portuguese potatoes, great quality, but so often served plain, just boiled. Why not make them come alive with a knob of butter, sea salt, parsley, preferably all three? There is also the Portuguese habit of punching potatoes, which I thought was hilarious when I first got here, ordering a dish of punched potatoes. But in a more smashed, yeah, or broken potatoes.
Broken potato, quebrado.
Yeah, friends of mine had invited their Portuguese neighbours for the first time and made a barbecue with all the trimmings, like in Belgium, with all kinds of vegetable salads. Barbecue in Portugal is usually meat and bread. Is that right? It's quite meaty. Pretty meaty. Thank you for expanding and introducing me to the variety of deliciousness of Portuguese food. It's been our pleasure. Hasn't Frank done a great job? Delightful, delicious, lovely. Thanks, Mark. Fantastic show, says Hank. Looking forward to those cooking classes. My wife will love it. That's a bit crafty, Hank. Sending your wife along, and just so that you can enjoy the wonder there.
Hank, I thought you were volunteering yourself.
Sorry, Mrs. M's come into the studio. We're still live, love. I'm talking about food. My belly is rumbling. If you could knock me up a bit of breakfast, that'd be awesome.
This is not going to be.
That seems to go down fairly well. Let's see what.
What have you done?
Risata de pasta, Italian fridge cleaner. That's another way of looking at it, isn't it? Casciupa is an African. It's a Cape Verdean.
Oh yes, I've had that.
Heart attack dessert, not mentioned very often, is the pau de lo, the ovar. Okay, we must get these on screen, mustn't we?
I must have that in my belly.
Which book we'll let's get that on the forum, Expats Portugal. I'll do that in the forum today and put the picture up in there. No, I'm going to, says Hank. So it'll be both Mr. and Mrs. Hank there. I do most of the cooking for us, but she tries. Oh, she's not going to like hearing that. She tries. That's nearly as bad as me ordering breakfast from Mrs. Emily.
Heck, you're digging it deep.
Frank, you've been amazing.
Thank
See you soon, everybody. And we'll look forward to many more of these Mondays. These a mouthful on Monday with Frank Devane.
I look forward to it. Thank you so very much for inviting me. This has been an amazing hour.
Ciao, ciao. Take care, mate. Bye for now. Off he goes there into the Coimbrian sunrise. So just to let you know, it's our gardening show tonight from around 6:15 to 7. We're in the garden with the Get Out and Grow project. Tomorrow morning on the Consumer Tuesday, we're talking to somebody about Bitcoin. Have you ever wondered about cryptocurrency? Is it safe to talk about it, let alone invest in it at the moment? We have someone coming on, a bit of a mystery man, actually, who I think will just be on the phone talking about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and the blockchain, the all-important blockchain. Ask anything about Portugal on Wednesday, places and spaces on Thursday, where we'll be talking about special parts of Portugal on Thursday. And of course, in the evening, the big match, the Algarvenator, Prosecco Peggy taking on the contender from Central Portugal with a ding. It'll be a good evening on Thursday, and after that the wine club, of course, where Gary is leading the charge with an Ermelinda special on Thursday, and hoping for a special guest like we had last Thursday on the wine club. And then on Friday, Jenny's back. Jenny, who was encouraging me to do what looked like unspeakable things on the screen last Friday, back by popular demand, folks, on Friday for another Feel Good Friday with Jenny, continuing to be kind to our own and other people's inner children. We will be doing that on Friday. And of course, Man Cave, 10 o'clock Friday night. You've been amazing. Take care and bye for now. Buona semana to you. Ciao, ciao.